Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Baxter. I'm one of the planners of the virtual Madrigal this year, and I'm here with Michaela Duffy, St. Mary's very talented scenic designer, who is responsible for all of those beautiful moods you saw in the real in-person madrigals. And Michaela's going to help us figure out a way to create our own madrigals at home. Hi, Michaela.
Hi.
Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to ask you, our presentation is going to be pretty high tech, right? We're going to have
Sure.
slideshows of past madrigals, recorded music, and the actors are coming in via Zoom. Is it going to be possible to make our dining rooms historically accurate?
Well, in terms of historical accuracy, we sort of have a loose definition in our in-person madrigal dinners. I mean, we're looking at music that spans generations, decades, even centuries in some ways. And so when we set the madrigal dinners, we're looking at almost a very anachronistic sort of environment. It's there to evoke a mood and a feeling, a sense of tradition, but it doesn't necessarily depict a particular era.
Okay. So what kinds of things can we do that would just create that mood you were just talking about?
So there are several different things that we do in terms of the live event that I think can be replicated in the home. It's really about a sense of ambiance. It's a sense of setting a particular time of year. You know, we're looking at Advent and Christmas, and the traditions that they grew out of were in our northern culture. That mid year, midwinter event, and there are lots of little things that we do in terms of trying to warm our home and warm special events like this to make them really special. Things like lighting, even scents in the air, evergreens, things like that. Bringing out festive colors because, well, even looking out today, the window, it's very, very bleak outside. And so having those bold, rich colors in part of our environments are very good things to warm the spirit. And so I think with a little bit of Christmas cheer, decoration, and some lighting, you can really make this a fun, festive event for yourself.
Great. So like lots of candles, I would guess. You could use candles. If you're worried about that, they have fake ones you can buy.
Absolutely. You know, we do have a mixture of real and theatrical in the live event, but there is something very, very special. I think that we as humans feel when you have a lighted candle. I mean, it's associated with so many different ceremonies. Definitely in the midwinter, it feels warm and inviting, but it is ingrained in our sensibilities that when you have a candle, this is a special time. This is a sense of ceremony. Sometimes even you know, as simple as putting a candle in a cake celebrates a birthday.
Yeah, right.
So there are many associations with candlelight, but particularly with Christmas. I think that there's a long tradition with candles and tying it to Christmas, whether it's the Advent wreath with the lighted Advent candles, all the way up to there's a feast that the end of the Christmas season, if you follow this, is Candlemas, which is 40 days after Christmas, and it's about that sense of Christ being the light and it lasting those 40 days. So it's definitely a good thing to have some candlelight.
Good. And also, when you and I were chatting before, you mentioned if you have a special tablecloth, bring that out or.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, we were chatting about that, and you know, you do have the sense of a medieval dinner being, you know, a banquet served on these giant platters, utensils being a little scarce and things like that, and maybe the table is barren. But if you look actually at some of the artwork that dates back to the medieval times, particularly those very festive events like Advent dinners and Christmas dinners, they would bring out white tablecloths, and It's maybe a status symbol, perhaps, that you can serve these big dinners on such fine linen. But definitely anything you can do to make your table feel a little more special in terms of linen, a centerpiece, candles, even what you serve your dinner on.
Nice. Yeah, it's almost a cliche from the movies that they come and plunk the meat like right on this bare table. You never think about the fact that they would have taken so much time to prepare a lovely white tablecloth. That was probably the only, that and Easter maybe is the only time
Yeah.
that ever came out. So people don't have to stick to what they think like is Madrigal tradition, right? Just making their own ritual, their own ceremony is the name of the game here.
Absolutely. Something that I wanted to mention too about how we decorate for our Madrigal dinners, and many Madrigal festivals do across the country. They bring out heraldry and crests and things like that reflect on an older time, but those bold colors and that sense of tradition and who you're aligning yourself with, those symbols were all part of that heraldry and those family crests, and it was a way to associate who you were associated with, who your loyalties lie with, your sense of tradition. And so in our modern culture, that may be things like what school do you support, what sports team are you into, but color and the complementary color are often together symbolize those different things. One of the things we did for the Madrigal design a few years ago for the 40th anniversary, actually my scene design class and my stagecraft class were involved in sort of redesigning some of the elements. And we talked about perhaps some of those flags that you see hanging in the space could be redesigned to represent people like McCandless or Father Moreau. But ultimately what we decided on was to keep the ones that we had and to use the St. Mary's colors. There are Spazunica banners actually that would be at the front of the near the stage area. But we took those elements that red or the silver and blue and white and tried to incorporate that throughout the touches of design. And so that's something you can think about. Is there a particular color that is meaningful to you and or your family, and can you use that as a accent color in your setting?
Great ideas. And I remember when you were redesigning that for the 40th anniversary, you also had to think about what that people had to move, right? So you can think about that too, right? About making a processional around your table, or you mentioned a toast,
Yes.
that all has to go into your design, right?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that is so special about the Madrigal dinners is that it does give you a sense of ceremony, of communion, of being able to start off a season, the holiday season, in a really heartwarming way that does kind of take you a moment to really value what's important in life, being around family and friends, and being able to set that off with a little bit of a ceremony, and whether that's just toasting with a cup of wassail, or like you're suggesting of making your own processional or lighting a candle and taking a moment to be thankful and mindful of those things.
Yeah. And even if you're by yourself, right? You'll know that you're toasting with all the other people celebrating madrigals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's kind of, in terms of bringing in this new technology, and, how does it fit with this old tradition? Sending good cheer and goodwill to each other is timeless and classic. And even if we're doing it through a screen, traditions change over time, and just knowing that there is that connection out there on the other side of the screen.
Well, I think that's a fabulous place to leave it. Thank you for bringing that in, and thank you for your time, and thank you for helping us build our own home madrigals.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.